The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Tommy, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. Thanks for wanting to come on, I should say.
Oh, man, yeah, I couldn't wait. I'm psyched to be here.
All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get to your show in a minute, but I like to start everything off with a little get-to-know-you interview so everybody knows a little bit about you.
Sure.
Tommy, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lynn, Mass.
Okay.
I was born in Lynn, Mass, 1981. I was in Lynn for most of my childhood, elementary school up to about 6th grade.
Yep.
And then I moved to New Hampshire after that. But
Okay.
yeah, so.
Nice. Now, where in New Hampshire? Laconia?
Yeah, right to Laconia.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you first see pro wrestling?
Probably mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Probably mid 80s. My dad took me to the Boston Garden quite a bit.
Nice.
I was always exposed to WWF.
Yep.
Because that's really all I had on
Right.
TV was WWF. I didn't have anything else to watch, so I was really keen on, guys like Bret Hart, Demolition. That's how I first got my feelings and my love for pro wrestling. Seeing those guys and my dad taking me to the Boston Garden anytime they were there.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome.
Nice. Now, were your friends into it?
I think everybody in elementary school, I think all my friends were into
Yeah.
it because we'd leave school or we'd be doing wrestling moves at recess at elementary school or after school, in the neighborhood because we were all down in Lynn, we were all, it was a close-knit neighborhood and it wasn't spread out. So all the kids would get together and we'd do all sorts of stuff. But yeah, we wrestled and did all the moves and watched WWF and we'd go do the moves out wherever.
And that's how Hogan was, so
Hogan
huge.
was huge.
Everybody,
Was huge. Yeah, Hogan was huge. Warrior, all that era was what I
Now,
fell
your
in
dad
love.
was a fan too?
Not as
Or
much
he
as
just
he
took-
just
he's-
took me because he
Right.
knew I loved it so
that's what
much.
my dad did too.
I don't think my dad really was too keen on it or really
Right.
loved it that much, but he knew I loved it, so
Yeah.
that was enough for him to take me everywhere we had to go.
That's cool. Now, when did you know you wanted to be a pro wrestler?
Probably 5th grade.
Really?
Probably 5th grade, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in the elementary
Yeah.
school. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I it's kind of like the story with every professional wrestler, really. You know what I mean? They have the, a boyhood dream, and I seen it at a very young age, and I was like, man, I really want to do this.
Right.
So I didn't know how I was going to do it as a little kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of things happened from then to when I did do it.
Right.
But that's when I kind of fell in love with it and knew, all right, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So.
So before I ask the next question, I have to ask you, because I didn't write it down, but did you go to any indie shows? Because, down in that area, there were some shows around, like Tony Rumble would run shows and stuff like that.
I went to zero independent
okay.
wrestling shows. I knew nothing about independent wrestling shows. I don't know if there was any public access things running at that time. I think I strictly was a WWF guy.
Right.
Or watching WWF when I was a kid.
Right.
I didn't know anything about any wrestling or nobody brought me to any indie shows or anything. But not until later on.
Right.
I don't think. I was actually, I think it was in my, maybe high school years when I went to my first independent wrestling show.
All right.
So.
So now, who trained you and how did you, you told me off Facebook, who trained you and how did you get hooked up with him?
So, kind of a funny story. I was at a WWF show in Lowell.
Okay.
At
the auditorium?
At the auditorium.
I was probably there too. I grew up in Lowell.
Yeah, I forget what year it was. I was I think I was 17.
Okay.
Maybe. I think I was a senior in high school at that point. And I was leaving the building after the show. And Justin McIsaac was out there. Remember him?
Yeah.
From then? And he was handing out flyers.
Right.
For the school here in Nashua. Come be a pro wrestler. He's out there, blah, 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 blah. I says, I took a flyer. Thought nothing of it. I think I chatted with him for a little while.
Right.
I kept it. It was a little flyer.
Yeah.
For the school, and it had all the AWA guys on there, Lobster Man, everybody on the
Captain USA.
Captain USA.
Yeah.
Who knows all those crazy characters, right? So I took that flyer and I held on to that thing, and I just kept that. For some reason, it just was always in a bureau of mine or a dresser, and I had it for a long time, and I never called. It took me years before I even called the number on the thing and signed up for wrestling. But that's how that's how I got exposed to how to get, find my first school, I guess,
Yeah.
so to speak. And that was before internet day, basically no internet
Yep.
then. So I had this flyer and it had a number on it.
That must have been funny though, because Justin's a funny. Like people that don't know him, he's just in shape. When
Yeah,
he's in that,
and, yeah,
like that.
and I worked with him, down the road.
Right.
Eventually, when I did all the stuff for Front Row Wrestling with Mav and everybody, and yeah, that was just, I seen him out there, and he's just a skinny little guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know nothing about
Right.
nothing, really, right? I leave WWE show, and here he is. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, well, I take the flyer, and
Yeah.
I held on to it until I was ready to call, and then I made the call, and that's where we got the ball rolling, I guess,
Now, because you didn't say Jeff was the first guy, like that's who ran the school, well, owned the school
So
at the time.
I called, and I talked to Ripper,
Okay.
Jeff. No. I talked to Mike.
Mike, okay.
Mike, and he said, well, why don't you come down for a tryout?
Right.
It's in Nashua. Here's the address. It's $50. Come try out. You do a couple little things. You touch some posts, do a roll, do some
Right.
stretch. I don't know. It was an easy little tryout.
Yeah.
And he laid out, okay, this is if you want to sign up.
Yep.
This is what it cost. And back then there was no payment plan system. You
So it
couldn't
was
make
just pay
you
the
couldn't
whole
make
thing.
installments. It was
Right.
like you had to pay it all in full.
Yep.
And I kind of like that style. Like if you really want it, you find a way
Right.
to get the money together. So, well, to backtrack a little bit, I think it was like 3 years later I called this thing
Okay.
because I was like 20 years old, I believe I called.
Right.
When I hooked up with Ripper.
Yeah.
And I went down, did the tryout, and I remember leaving there, and I was like, man, it's my first time in a ring. I was really excited. Like, this is what I want to do.
Right.
Because there was a period after, I was a kid watching WWF and into my teen years where I kind of got out of wrestling phase a little bit.
Well, yeah.
My high school years, I got into snowboarding and skateboarding.
Okay.
And I started competing doing that, and I was pretty good at that. And I wasn't very big.
Right.
I was a skinny kid in high school. And then Stone Cold came on the scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, man.
Yeah.
Because you know how huge that was when it came on the scene.
Huge.
So that got me back hooked, like
Right.
hook, line, and sinker
Yep.
when Stone Cold came back. So I started doing, I started from junior year to senior year in high school. I probably put on, let's just 15 pounds of muscle. Whatever.
Right.
I started working out.
Yep.
And I started working out every day after high school with my dad and his buddies at the
Okay.
gym, learning how to do a proper, bodybuilding split and learning how to work out.
Right.
So I put it, and my body responded so good because I was skinny. I always ate like crap, and
Right.
now I'm working out and eating, so my body responded like that.
Right.
It doesn't happen anymore because when you first start, that's boom,
Right.
but whatever. So I put on some. I came back to high school senior year, and I was like, people were like, who is this little skateboarder kid?
Yeah.
And so huge on Stone Cold, and that's when I was into it then.
Yeah.
I was still going through high school. I was still kind of working out, and then finally when I was like 20, I called the number on the brochure, and I talked to Rip,
Yeah.
and I was like, I want to sign up, man. This is what I want to do. You know what I mean? So I went to the bank and I got a personal loan,
Yep.
and I think it was like $2,000.
Right.
I don't remember what the number what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was, but it was probably like $2,000 or
Yep.
2,500 or something like that. I don't even know how I even got approved for it, but
You
it
did?
wasn't a car loan. It was a personal loan.
Right.
I went to the bank, like TD Bank or whatever it was, and I was like, hey, I need $2,000.
Yeah.
Personal loan. I don't think I needed a cosigner because my credit wasn't bad at that
Right,
time.
right.
I was still, whatever. So I went down and did that whole thing, and I started training. I started training twice a week in Nashua. So I drove from Laconia, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think we
Okay.
trained. And it was like a class type environment.
Right.
Jeff was in and out, but he wasn't there all the time. I
Right.
don't recall. Maybe he popped in here and there. But Ripper was there. Amato was running the
Yep.
classes.
Matt Figueroa. Yep.
Yeah, Amato was running the classes. Brian Fury was there.
Yep.
Tarzan was there. Johnny Vegas was there. I mean, it was a pretty good, fun class. It was
Right.
it was a good group of, but there wasn't no it wasn't like a structured
Right.
deal. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It was kind of like you did a couple warm-up drills,
Yeah.
and then you did some matches and stuff like that. I was so green. It was just, I do better with a structure, like, hey, do this, 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 and
Right.
this. I learn better
Yep.
rather than just being thrown. It depends on the situation, I guess.
Right.
But it was kind of like all over the place as far as training goes.
Yeah.
So essentially, it was just trying to feel my way around and do my own thing.
Right.
And then I was trained to the point where I had my first match.
Yeah. And who was that for? Was that for Jeff?
Yeah, it was. That
Okay.
was for Jeff. That was at the Dover Elks, I believe.
Okay.
Against Rock and Roll Mark Vincent was my first match. And it was surprisingly really good. I worked heel,
Right.
which first match you should not work heel.
Did Jeff give you like a gimmick to use like as a heel, or were you just a...
I was just a bad guy.
Yeah, okay.
I don't even really remember, but
Right.
I know I was just out there just yelling at people in the
Yeah.
front. I never really knew. I wasn't probably even ready to do a match, but I did it, and it worked okay. We called the whole thing back. We
Yep.
went over the whole thing, and it went okay. I think I worked like a leg injury, something like that, and
Right.
it worked out okay. And I came back, and I had that euphoric,
Right.
the after match
Yeah.
like high, where it's like, yeah, it's awesome, you know what I
Right.
mean? And that's the feeling that you can't get anywhere else, or it's really hard to find that. So you kind of get hooked on that,
Right.
and not so much the drives and the waiting around,
Right.
but after your match, how you feel if you had a good match. Well, that's where it is from there. But so after that, I had that match, and for some reason, I don't know what was going on in my life at that time. I think I had another job I was doing, and I just couldn't really commit to wrestling. So
Right.
I had my first match, and then I think I stopped wrestling for a while,
Right.
and for whatever reason. And then these years, it's a lot of years in between. And
Yeah.
it's whatever. But so I had my first match with him, and I didn't wrestle anymore.
Right.
I don't even know what the reason was. I just didn't wrestle anymore, and ECW relaunched their the one night stand.
Yep.
And I'm like, I love wrestling again. Like,
Right.
it was just really weird how
Yep.
whatever. So I called Rip again.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's going on down there at the deal, And I think Mav took over at that point.
Right.
So, but Ripper was like, you basically need to be retrained.
Right.
So I'm not going to charge you the whole deal again.
Yep.
But, we got to charge you something. So I think I went and another payment or whatever.
Right.
And at this point, remember Paul?
Yeah.
What the heck was he? Was a weirdo kind of Flash
Fahrenheit,
Fahrenheit,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Which I think Mav loved him. They had some great matches together
Yeah.
too. Good kid, but I think he was like there all the time.
Yeah.
But Ripper didn't feel comfortable with me being with him,
Yep.
being trained by him, like again.
Yeah.
So he was like, whatever. And I think that's when Mav came in eventually at that point. And then Front Row Wrestling formed.
Yeah.
And that's when I trained, and had another first match, I
Yeah.
guess you want to
Okay.
call it.
For Math.
From Mav,
Right.
which was Front Row Wrestling against Johnny Vegas in Claremont.
Nice.
And that's when that match happened.
Yeah.
And then I've been going ever since on that.
Right.
And I don't know what year that was. I think that was 2003, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
That must
I
have
don't
been
even
though
remember.
having a match with Johnny Vegas. He is like unreal.
It's so easy, man. It's so easy. And it was the worst. It was so bad. I was so terrible.
Right.
I didn't know what I was doing. I just
Yeah.
didn't get it. Like sometimes it takes me a long. 37, I'm just getting it now.
Right.
you know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah.
Some people probably say I don't get it at all. But I kind of can get through a match now. let's
Right,
say.
right.
But it took me
you're fine.
it took me a long time to figure it out. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. But that's when I stayed in after that for and the whole duration of Front Row Wrestling
Yep.
and then snowballed from there, whatever else contacts I made, and I just kept going. But
Right. Now,
Yeah.
after Mav, like, what was? Do you remember the first couple companies you wrestled? Because I know you said you wrestled for Showcase.
yeah, Showcase was one of them.
Yep.
I think I met Bob Evans at Front Row Wrestling
Okay.
show. So I exchanged emails with him,
Yep.
and I started emailing him, and he brought me into EPW.
Right.
So I worked for Bob. So I did Showcase, Bob.
Did you do any for Dr. Heresy, too? Didn't he own like
He
EP? What was it?
EWA?
Yeah.
EWA in Orange
Yeah.
in Gardner, Mass. I did do some stuff for him,
Right.
and those were great shows. He drew really well out there.
Right.
And those were good shows. I don't think I worked all of those shows
Okay.
because there was some pretty talented
Yeah.
guys in New England
Yeah, because
area.
Mav was doing it with them too. Didn't they? I think Mav bought in with them.
Yeah, and
a
they were
little bit
main
for a while.
eventing with like John Walters and
Right.
Demon Ortiz.
Yep.
Those guys were main eventing those shows. So it wasn't the easiest to get on those shows.
Right.
But I did do a few. I think I wrestled Sonny Goodspeed in one of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I had I was supposed to work heel that night, and I had like a ton of people come to see me. And like I got a huge pop, whatever,
Right.
and Sonny I remember Sonny looking at me, he goes,
Get on, man.
no, you meant he goes, you're the baby face tonight, kid. And we just did
So
our match.
switched
But
it
yeah,
up,
we
yeah?
switched it up, whatever we did.
Nice.
But so that was a good night. That was a huge crowd. That was fun. So yeah, it was those companies. And then later on was like Sparta and Powerhouse. And
Okay.
it just kept whoever I could meet and do stuff with. And I met Don Vega along the way somewhere, who's helped me out a lot, and he still does to this day.
He's a great wrestler too, man.
You know, when he does, and he's always been really cool with me, and every time I've had an idea to kick off somebody, I'd always call him.
Yep.
Or whatever, and he hooked me up with, you know, Satara with Powerhouse.
Nice.
And I think Sparta too. So he got me into those places. And once I got in those places and had a match, I was getting decent at that point.
Yep.
So I could get over, and I always had, you know, decent looking gear and nice brand new boots and
in shape.
And I kept myself in shape, which being not good at wrestling, it helped me, you know, because I looked decent and I looked like a wrestler.
A lot of guys don't.
And, you know, and I had my airbrush guy who did all my Harley Davidson bikes. Like, he airbrushed my, you know, like did the Rob Van Dam gimmick on my tights. So I always had nice gear, boots, and I kept myself in somewhat decent shape, which I prided myself on. Hey, you're going to be a professional wrestler, you should go to the gym and look like a wrestler, which, you know, I still don't understand to this day where you still don't see it. You still sometimes see guys where it's like, I don't understand why you don't have time to eat, you know, don't eat donuts and go to the gym. I just don't get it.
It's different than back when like when I started watching in the 70s, okay? So like there was all different, you know what I mean? It wasn't all about being in shape, but now in the, you know, the 2018, it's fitness is a huge thing in the world, not just in wrestling.
It's like swimmers build now.
Yes.
See, WWF, when I first started watching, was, you know, giants, but not, but roided up, you know, monsters. You know what I mean? But that intrigues people. That's larger than life. You know, of course, we know how that ends for a lot of people. So,
unfortunately,
today's day and age, it had to change, which is good. People are healthy now, and they're athletic, man. They're just, which is insane. Some of the stuff that these guys can do.
It's incredible.
But yeah, so, which is not, you know, my style. I'm more of an old school traditional wrestler. I like to think, but yeah, so that's right there. But
all right. Before we plug your show for the first time, what injuries have you sustained?
I think I had a torn. Worst was like a torn ligament in my foot.
Yeah. So you've been pretty healthy considering, like, compared to some people.
Yeah, you know, knock on wood. I guess I have to say that, right? You know, whatever. But I kind of protect myself when it comes to putting a match together. You know, I don't do a lot of head and neck stuff, and I make sure that especially now at 37 years old, and you know, I'm in good shape. I've actually been leaner than I've been in a long time, and I keep myself in good shape, but I just really protect the parts that can really screw you up. You know what I mean? So yeah.
All right, so excuse me, I'm sorry. I had a busy weekend, and I was up early today. So you have a show coming up. It's on Sunday, March 31st, 2019. Injustice for Brawl 2. It's at the Everett Arena, 15 Loudon Road in Concord, New Hampshire.
Yes, sir.
03301. I always give that because it's the GPS. But so you have anything like that you want to talk about the show now? And then we'll do it again. We're gonna get back into your career and stuff too. But
all right, cool. Yeah. So last year we ran the first annual Injustice for Brawl. And that was at the Whiskey Barrel, which was a bar in Laconia. And my good buddy, my tattoo artist, actually, he has a son who was dealing with a rare disease that he was battling at such a young age, which was horrible. And they were back and forth to the Boston Children's Hospital, you know, blah, blah. So I approached him. I said, listen, I want to do this event. And I honestly don't even know where the Justice for Brawl name came from. My business partner's out there. He probably knows, but I can't remember. But it just kind of had a ring to it. We liked it. Let's go with it.
It does sound good.
I think my girlfriend came up with it, to be honest. We were sitting around, you know, talking about some stuff. And so I talked to Pete. I says, this is what I'm thinking about doing. His tattoo shop's on the same drag as the bar we ran the wrestling show on. So I'm like, hey, I really want to do this thing for PJ. PJ's his son, the kid. And I says, you know, we want to just do a huge wrestling event. We want to do a portion of the proceeds, you know, to you guys, to the family, and, you know, we'll blow this thing up as big as we can. We'll get sponsors on board. You know, a portion of that will go towards your family and PJ and the Boston's, the Children's Boston Hospital. And it just was, it was awesome, man.
You did well.
We basically, I would say we sold the place out. We maybe could have fit a few, but the place was, it was packed, man. We had
Mav said that he doesn't think you could have fit one more person in there. That's how good.
So that's a different bar.
Oh, okay.
So I was running. Well, I guess we could. go into that too. So
Okay.
I started running my own events in Laconia in 2010.
Right. Okay.
And I was running at the high school in Laconia, which I didn't know what I was doing from a promotional standpoint. They were okay. They drew pretty good because I always focused a lot of time onto it.
Right.
Brought in really good talent.
Yep.
And stuff like that. But I just didn't like the high school atmosphere because you had the ring in the middle and the chairs, but it was bleachers all spread out. It was very spread out.
Right.
And there was no concessions.
Yeah.
No beer, no food, no nothing. Yeah. So we did one there, and then I did another one there with Sergeant Slaughter. That went really well.
Yeah.
And then I stopped running, I think, for a year or something. And then this bar called Tower Hill Tavern in the Weirs, I talked to the owner. I says, hey, this place they have an upstairs there that they have bands up there. And the ceiling's high, and the acoustics are awesome, and it's just a great atmosphere up there. So I said, why don't we run wrestling shows here? So I started running there, and I probably ran 4 or 5 shows there.
Okay.
And the last one that Mav's talking about, the one before that, I wrestled Abyss in a hardcore match, and the place was packed. It was awesome, and I lost to Abyss.
Right.
I took the thumbtack gimmick, and I lost. And I says, this town is like, you could just feel like it's an old school vibe in this town. This is awesome. So I got to get my revenge. So I have to run one more show.
Yeah.
So we booked me versus Abyss in a steel cage match.
Right.
And I brought it back to that bar.
Yeah.
And I had Jimmy Snuka there too. Last minute, I contacted Jimmy and he was available. So I'm doing a cage match. I'm jumping off the cage.
Yeah.
Got to have Jimmy Snuka there, right, to do a meet and greet.
Yeah.
Which this turned out to be the best weekend ever because we stuffed that place completely full.
Right.
Me and Abyss's match went awesome. And then for the rest of the weekend, I drank beer with Jimmy Snuka on my buddy's island on the lake.
That's
so
my favorite
so it was like the coolest weekend ever. You know what I mean? It was awesome.
Right.
So, so that was the show I believe Mav's talking about.
Okay.
Where he wrestled
Warbeard. Yeah.
So which was cool because I didn't even really know that was his last match till you told me today actually. Which sorry Mav, I love you man, but I didn't know. But it was awesome to have him there who gave me my start in front row wrestling. And I was able to put him in a match with Warbeard, and it just was awesome for the show. And the whole show, the whole night was great. So that's how that went. And then after that, with my masonry company being so busy, I just didn't want to run. I just had no time to promote because like I was talking to you earlier, I like to go 100%, and I got to promote. I wanted to sell the place out.
I wish every promoter did that.
It's a lot. People that are promoted and they're going to be watching this, they know how much work it is. Because I don't want 100 people there.
Right.
I want it sold out. If I'm doing a show in a town, everybody in that town is going to know that there's a show going on.
That's right.
If not, then you're missing out on.
Right.
So if you're not hitting every avenue possible,
Yep.
if you're not hitting radio, and I don't do TV, but if you're not hitting radio and social media and hanging posters and basically door-to-door selling, hitting businesses, newspapers are huge for us because we got one there that everybody reads.
Right.
So I hit that thing all the time.
Right.
And it wasn't cheap, but it takes money to make money.
That's right.
So anything I could think of possible. I put my events on Craigslist. A lot of people have no idea how to do They don't do that. Go under the tickets thing on Craigslist. Put your event on there. It's local. Everybody in the state looks on Craigslist, right?
Yeah.
Put your event on. Everything you could think of to do, that's what I try to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've learned more every time I do one.
Absolutely.
They keep getting bigger and bigger. Right. So, hopefully. So now, with Injustice for Brawl 2 coming up, and we're working with Veterans Count, which is an organization that helps veterans directly in New Hampshire.
Oh, nice.
90% of the money stays right here, goes right to the veterans in the state.
Awesome.
With financial aid and other services that they offer.
Right.
It's just a great organization. They're statewide, and it's just, so we're teaming up with them, and a portion of the proceeds for Injustice for Brawl 2 in Concord there is going to go towards Veterans Count, which is really something awesome that I'm just happy to do. It's just awesome. I'm glad we could make it work,
Really
and my business partner is a Marine veteran as well too. So
thank you for your service, Bill.
It works out really good. It's going to be I think it's going to be really awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Well, and the place holds too. So
because it's a hockey rink, right?
It's a rink, the Everett Arena. It's a pretty historic rink too. Like WWF and WWF used to run there in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, cool.
But there hasn't, because I looked online. I tried to find pictures of it. There's nothing on the internet.
Right.
There's just match results.
Yeah.
From WWF and stuff like that, like Tito Santana. And there's been some, who's has been there.
Yeah.
But it's a historic. I mean, there hasn't been wrestling there. Don't quote me on this because I was trying to dig up. I was trying to dig. Yeah, 80s, I would say.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So initially I wanted to run the Laconia ice rink,
Okay.
which is, in the town that I
Yep.
always run because they have a nice local following.
Right.
It's great. They don't have a sprinkler system. So when the ice is gone, they can't run events there.
Right.
So I'm like, really? So all right, what's the next biggest place we can find?
Right.
And we got turned on to Concord.
Yeah.
So I met with the guy at Concord. The only date they had available was a Sunday.
Yep.
So I was like, a little skeptical about running. I've never run a Sunday.
There's no football.
There's no football. It's an early show.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. 3 o'clock, right? Was it 3? I'm sorry.
I
if
believe
I'm
we're
wrong.
gonna. No, you're right. I believe we're gonna do meet and greet from
Okay.
2 to 4.
Yep.
And bell
And then-
time at 4.
Nice.
We're still hashing out of stuff.
Yeah.
You can go to injusticeforbrawl.com for all the updates, and we have an event page on Facebook too.
And I'll be
Injustice
doing
for
it
Brawl, too.
on my Facebook page.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
stuff,
Yeah,
too.
well, I mean, like you said, I
Yep.
blow things up as big
Yep.
as I can. So
Good.
when the time comes and more talent gets announced, it's gonna be
Right.
You're gonna be sick of seeing probably, you know what I mean? People get sick of me pushing it, but it is what it is.
Nah,
like
push
I
it,
said,
push it,
everyone's
push
gonna
it.
know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they only had a Sunday available, which I mean, the more we thought about it, the more I talked to people because I wanted to talk to people and
Yeah.
locals and see what they thought about. Oh, it's a Sunday early. We can bring our kids, but we'll be home.
Exactly.
The show will be over by 6.
Yep.
We get our kids home, and it's not a late night. Yeah, perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So everybody says it's a great central location, right off the highway in Concord.
It is.
So I was worried about losing the Laconia following
yeah.
right in my town.
Right.
But it's 20 minutes down Route 106.
Yeah,
to
it's not
Concord.
that far.
It's not that far. And then we're gonna pull people from because even my shows in Laconia, people came from Maine, Mass, because big name talents.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
So people came from everywhere. But now being right off the highway in
Yeah.
Concord, I don't see why we can't pull from everywhere in the
Right.
state. So the place holds,
Yeah.
almost 2,000 people.
Nice.
So I don't want to,
Yeah.
I'm shooting for,
You're
what I'm
shooting for the-
shooting for what I'm
shoot for
shooting
the moon, right?
Shooting what
Yeah.
I'm shooting for. So
That's
I got a
right.
lot of work ahead of me, but
Yep.
I like it. So my work slows down in the winter months too, my
Right.
masonry.
Right.
So and I would basically go crazy if I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I have to do something.
You'll-
I need a project.
Yeah, and this
it's
is a good project.
Great project, great organization we're
Yeah,
working for,
absolutely.
working with, and it's something I love to do. So
Yep.
every day I'm going to get up, and whether I always donate probably 3-4 hours a day to work on it,
Yep.
or whatever I do. You know what I mean? Every day I
Nice.
just do something
Right.
to just go at it.
Yep.
So now, we're starting early because it's not. What are we now? November, mid-November.
Yeah.
This ain't till March.
Right.
So we're working. We're
Plenty of
we have
time.
plenty of time. We actually already have a lot of talent that I'm not giving it all away
Yep,
now,
yep.
but
No,
we
you
have
should.
a lot of solid talent locked from
Nice.
all over the country, and I think people are going to be pretty surprised about it. I think,
Nice.
and I always do a surprise in my shows too.
Do you too? Yeah.
Like some people kind of break my balls a little bit about it. Like I think Larry Huntley said it to me the other day. He goes, "Oh man, you got him, but you're not going to advertise him." I says, "Well, Larry, every time people come to my show, they don't know who's going to show up.
Yeah.
I got to have that guy, that one guy. Like
Right.
it was Sabu the last show.
Okay.
When
Oh, wow.
I wrestled the Whiskey Battle show.
Yeah.
Injustice for Brawl 1. I wrestled Alpha in tables match basically, and another ECW guy interfered. I won't mention his name because I don't like him.
All right.
And,
That's cool.
So and then Sabu, out of nowhere,
Yeah.
made the save and put that guy through a table.
Right.
And then we went into our finish, and people just was chanting like Sabu. I mean, it was
Right.
nobody had any idea he was there.
Wow.
I didn't let him sit out for the meet and greet.
Yeah.
Brought him downstairs.
Yep.
That was it. I said, "This is your spot and your deal," and it was nobody knew.
That's
Nobody
awesome.
expected it.
Right.
And I have a big one for this one.
That's
maybe
cool.
maybe even 2.
Nice.
So that's
I
what-
don't even want to know. 'Cause
No,
I'm gonna be,
I
you know
don't.
what I mean? I
don't,
love surprises.
Yeah, I
do.
don't give out all of them. You
That's
can't
good.
give out all the tricks. You know
No.
what I mean?
That's
because then
awesome.
people leave there going, "I have to go to the next one."
Exactly.
Because who knows who's going to
That's
show
right.
up? I mean, yeah, you got some awesome talent advertised
Yep.
on the flyer,
Yep.
and who's going to be there definitely, which is usually enough to
Right.
get people there anyway. Because
Right.
I do pretty good with my book. I like to book
Yeah.
everybody from everywhere and give a little bit of something for everybody.
Right.
But I got to have that. Oh man, if we didn't show up, we wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah. And that's the way. That's what, like, as a fan, just because that's what I am. I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
When I leave a show, that's what you want fans to be saying. I can't wait for the next one. And what helps
what we
that
do.
is, like you said, surprises.
Yeah, and the word of mouth has been spreading in my town, like after Injustice for Brawl 1.
Yeah.
Well, even the shows before that too,
Yeah.
but there was a little bit of lull there where I didn't run.
Right.
But when I teamed up with my partner Bill and we did Injustice for Brawl 1, people left there, and the talk. It was like months after.
Right.
Everywhere
People
I
still
went.
talking
I
about
actually heard at the gym yesterday. A guy I haven't seen in forever, and he's like, "Hey man, I heard unbelievable things about your last show. We got anything local coming up, blah blah?" And that's when I just keep spreading the word about Injustice for Brawl too.
Nice.
But eventually I'll push it to where everybody will know what's happening. But it was nothing but positive feedback on it. I didn't hear one negative thing, and I'd like to, if I would like to, but if I did, fine. I'd like to hear all feedback.
Yeah, because you want to.
Something I could do different, or not, or maybe it was everyone just loved it, or maybe they're just BSing me. I don't know, whatever. But
no, they probably loved it.
Yeah. I walked away going, man, I felt really good about that whole show, and my partner did, and everybody that was there had a great time. And
nice.
And what's the other thing about the bar shows too is it's a mix of little kids are there too, and adults.
Right.
But it's full bar also.
Right.
So that's what the high school was lacking too. Was like the atmosphere wasn't as tight.
Right.
Because Whiskey Bar, I mean, we were jammed in by the ring, seats here, seats on the stage, and then all back standing.
Yeah.
And people were just drinking, having a good time, but not out of control where you couldn't bring your family. It was so it was a family-friendly show at a bar.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people do that.
Right.
I mean, because you have a little bit of risk there, but I have to have a detail cop there.
Right.
I have security, and basically people know that they're coming to a family-friendly show. Just don't act like an idiot. You know what I mean? Or leave, you know what I mean? Or they get told to leave pretty quickly if they get out of hand. Let's just say that. So, it just worked out good.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So the other problem, not a problem, but with Injustice for Brawl 2 here, I'd like people to be able to come to a show and have a couple beers.
Right.
Well, right now they don't have a liquor license, but they applied with the town, and it's looking real good for them having a beer and wine license for the ice arena.
Right.
So people can come now and enjoy a beverage and bring their family.
Yep.
So it should just be good.
Now,
for
are you going to be able to run that yourself, like, you know what I mean? Or
no, they're going to be. So it's
the
going to be
commission.
it's their liquor license with the commission.
Yep.
So we will have nothing to do with the concessions or which takes it off my plate.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even care about the whatever revenue that brings. It's just it's too much for me anyway.
Right.
I got to worry about the tickets and the seating and the booking and the talent and wrestling my own, so that just takes it off.
Either way, it could have worked out good for you, but like you said, it's probably going to help you they're going to get the money, so
it's fine. Yeah, so they're going to want to have it.
Yeah,
it's fine. So that works for me. Take that right off my plate. Yeah,
all right.
That's
well,
cool.
We're going to talk about your show again a little bit, but I did want to get to some fan questions because I don't know if someone mentioned to you, but I think he's a club member, one of your club members, Brendan Plumley.
Oh, Brendan, yeah.
He's got a few questions for you.
Of course he does. He's one of the biggest wrestling fans ever. I mean, he knows more about wrestling than anybody I know.
Nice. He says, what attracted you to pro wrestling? Now, you said it a little bit earlier, but if you want to just touch on that real quick.
Yeah, it was the larger than life, the larger than life characters. It was the Warriors, the Hogans, the Bret Harts, and for some reason, Demolition always stuck out to me. Like when I was a little kid, Demolition was.
They were a good tag team.
And I know
Bill Eadie.
And everybody says they were what a Road Warriors knockoff. But
I think they were just as good as them. I didn't know the
Road Warriors then. So I just wanted the Demolition.
But they were.
I just wanted the Demolition figures. You know what I mean? Like Demolition was my.
Yep.
That was my team. You know what I mean? So, it was that era of guys that was just like you watch that and it's like this is. How do you say? How to explain it? It's just like, man, this is awesome.
But you're right, though. They were back then in the '80s like that, larger than life. Like they were all, like you said, roided. Doing the roid. They were big dudes.
And plus, I'm a little kid, so I'm impressionable. So that's how that kind of started.
He wants to know, was there any match that you saw that made you want to be a pro wrestler? Like after seeing a certain match, where you were like, wow, I have to do this.
Royal Rumble when Ric Flair won.
Oh, when he went from number 1.
92, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 92 Rumble. That was my dad. I remember this specifically because my dad took me to the Italian club in Saugus.
Okay.
They got all the pay-per-views there, whatever, on the big screen. So we were at the Italian club in Saugus, and because he knew I love wrestling, so he used to take me everywhere, and so they happened to have it on. So we went to the Italian club and we watched it, and that was just for some reason that match.
Yep. That was a great
it was just a great Royal Rumble, and as far as a singles match, nothing from back then being little stuck out to me.
Right.
That did, and then the Shawn Michaels turn with the barbershop thing really stuck out to me.
That was good.
So I guess not match per se, but that
couple of
things like that really things that I remember from like, oh wow, awesome. But that Rumble, man, I remember watching the whole thing. That at the Italian club, going, man, this is just awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
He wants to know, and I have a feeling that he might be this guy. Will you ever give your one-time manager, Jackson Ryder, another chance? Now, is Brendan Jackson Ryder?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah,
That's
he is.
cool, though.
Yeah, he is.
Is he going to get another chance?
I think he will, yeah. And Brendan just had back surgery yesterday, so I wish him the best.
Heal up, buddy. Heal up.
Yeah, wicked good dude.
Yeah.
Close friend of mine. And, yeah, so like I said, he loves wrestling. He's
Right.
a huge wrestling fan.
Nice.
So I did a show for Larry up in Maine. I don't know how many years ago now, but he's like, I'm like, Brendan, how do you want to be in a wrestling show?
Yeah.
He's like, really, you can do that for me? And he's got no wrestling
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
He just, whatever.
Right.
He loves it. And he's like,
Yeah.
like you made my dream come true, man. He's all psyched
That's
about
awesome.
it. I'm like, dude, just manage me. Just come out there and don't worry about it. We're just gonna have fun. Who cares?
Right.
We're doing like a charity show up in Maine.
Yep.
You're not getting any money. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
Just come and have some fun.
Right.
You know, you can live out a little dream of yours a little bit. And absolutely, if the opportunity arises, I would let him do something like that.
That's
again.
cool.
Of course, yeah. Wicked good guy, and he knows a lot about wrestling. And sometimes I kick ideas off. He's a fan.
Right.
But sometimes I kick ideas off him on my shows. I go back and forth with
Yeah.
him a lot too.
Well,
and I'm
that
like, hey,
perfect person to ask, a fan.
well, especially when I'm booking guys too. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this guy? What would you
Right.
who would pay for this? Would you get pictures with this guy? What do you think about? And that's kind of in my go-to with as far as wrestling fan goes.
Right.
Is Brendan.
Yeah.
You know, and so he gives me a lot of good insight on stuff because he knows a lot of stuff.
And it's funny because a lot of promoters don't do that. And I'm sorry, but I think that's a very smart thing to do.
Yeah,
to ask people what they want to see.
Absolutely, especially a guy that's watched every bit of wrestling
Right.
you can imagine.
Yeah.
He knows what will probably draw or who
Yep.
people want to see, and
Absolutely.
it helps out a lot. You know what I mean? So yeah, I kick a lot of ideas off Brendan for sure.
Nice. He wants to know, what are your hopes for a New Hampshire territory in the future? Are you ever think of running a territory? You know what I mean, like a promotion, regular. I know what we talked about before we went on air.
It's funny, Brendan, you asked that because if you come to any of my shows, the feel of the atmosphere feels like territory.
Really?
Not that I was around back
No,
then,
no, I
but
know
just
what you're
from
saying.
watching,
Yeah.
like just the feel and the emotion that
Yep.
people. It's not as quiet. Everybody's into everything,
Right.
no matter what it is, from start to finish. Every match, people are into it, and it's just a great old school feel. I would love for it to become a territory.
Yeah.
I mean, but how often do you have to run for that to happen?
Yeah.
And running once a year is stressful.
Right.
Stressful enough.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I could do it full time for a living, man. I mean, luckily I have a great company, Masonry
Yeah.
company that does really well. But I just don't really have the time
Yeah.
and the freedom to be able to run more than once a year.
Right.
I could maybe do twice a year.
Yeah.
And we're thinking something maybe in Justice for Fall.
Yeah. There you
You
go.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're kicking around some ideas, but let's get through this big one first.
Right.
And if this arena show does really well, then maybe we're onto something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We
Nice.
could sell out of a bar in Laconia at 500 people, but what about if we move to an arena now?
Right, right.
This is going to be the true test of if the area, if it's wanted in the area.
Right.
This will really tell if
Right.
people want wrestling. Because when you go to WWE now at the Verizon, not the Verizon now, it's SNHU Center.
Yeah.
In Manchester, where
Yeah.
the WWE runs there, I don't think they do very well. I could be mistaken, but I think they black out a lot of the seats.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yep. I mean, I think I did extra work for them back years ago too,
Yeah.
at that arena, and
Right.
it was all the seats were blacked out,
Yeah.
way up. I mean,
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't.
they tell people to come down.
There
and
was the
everything.
summer months, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? They bring people down, and it just was really slow. So I don't know if it's because it's WWE. I wouldn't think so. I think
Yeah, you would think it
I
would be
think
packed, but I don't know, man.
It's Manchester right in the middle of the state. I don't
Yeah.
know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll sell out this.
Yeah.
You know, bigger than the WWE sells out.
That would be awesome.
Manchester, man. I don't
Hey,
know. You know
I'll
what I
help.
mean?
I'll do my part for you. Seriously,
Hey,
I'll
man,
push it for
well,
you.
I
Honestly,
appreciate that. You know,
not a problem.
You know, of
Brendan has one more question.
course he did.
He says, "Who would your dream match to face in the ring be? If you could just pick one guy."
Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam.
He probably knew that too, right?
Huh?
Like, he probably knew that.
I don't think
No?
he did know that answer.
Yeah?
Because there's a few guys that but I've always been a huge fan of Rob Van Dam.
Me too. I am too.
And I started watching to the ECW era was when I got back.
Yeah.
Came back into wrestling with the Stone Cold
Yep.
and the Easy whatever. But so I loved Rob Van Dam, and I even airbrushed my singlet,
Right.
and
Yeah, you had said
I
that,
did a
right.
frog splash for a finish,
Yep.
and I totally was a mark for Rob Van Dam.
Nice.
So I did. I talked to Rob actually
Right.
here and there, and
That's cool.
through text and stuff. So well, I wanted him for Justice for Brawl too,
There you go.
but and he was all for having a match, but yeah, it's he's expensive.
Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, no. We'll talk off air afterwards because I got a nice RVD story for you.
Yeah.
And he's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
he's
a
awesome
great,
guy.
great dude. But luckily, he's in such a great position in life,
Yeah.
and he's done really well that he doesn't have to wrestle on the weekends.
Right.
So if he wants to, he will. But if it's yeah.
I got a couple more questions, but before I get to the question, I just want to talk a little bit about Mav in your relationship with Mav, because like you said, you didn't know that how much he liked you and stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Mav said so many nice things about you, and I just want to say it on air real quick. We'll go through this real fast. That he just was so happy that you gave him his last match against Warbeard. He talked so highly of that show and said that the place was packed. He doubts that you could have fit any more people in there. Wanted to, know why not you're running more shows, and you've already explained why.
Yeah,
You've already explained that. But he wanted me to extend his thanks to you for putting him on the show. He thanked you before, but he really wanted you to know that it meant a lot to put as he put it, his broken ass in the ring with a guy I worked with. Taught some stuff and was becoming a hot commodity for his last ever match that you didn't even know was his last match.
I don't know how I didn't know that, but yeah, I apologize, Mav.
He said the crowd exploded for that match with him and Warbeard,
it was excellent.
He said that the reaction was real and it was a cool way to end it, and he said that place should have held 200 people max with the ring and you doubled that.
Yeah, we probably would have got in trouble if the fire marshal showed up because he's not a very friendly guy, actually.
Really?
Because I always have to have my permits in place at least before, and he has to do an inspection of the place. But yeah, we stuffed the place to where we probably shouldn't have stuffed. People couldn't even get out the exit doors because it was like this, and people went outside for air because they couldn't breathe, stuff like that. But Mav, I appreciate the kind words, and if you could do every one of my shows, you would be on every one of my shows. I know he's dealt with some injuries, and
he just had knee replaced.
Yeah, and he's worked construction his whole life. He's a roofer. I mean, I know how that goes. And, so Mav, I love you, man. If you could be on all my shows, you would be. You're more than welcome to come to every one of them and hang out. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
I'm sure
man.
he'll be there.
You can do whatever you want, Mav, for sure. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I had to do that because, like I said, he's done a lot for me even too, helping me out when I don't know things about people. I always know I can go to Mav and ask him,
Yeah.
So
there was this one day back in my training, just real quickly,
Yep.
that I think it was just me and Mav and maybe one other guy at the school. And I was like, Mav, I want to learn like some submission stuff and blah, blah, blah. So he taught me he knows more stuff than people think he knows. Like, he knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And he taught me these submission holds, a lot
How
of
to
stuff.
protect yourself in the ring.
But there's some submission holds that he taught me that I use in my matches now that I've never forgotten, that nobody else has taught me.
Nice.
And that I've never seen before.
Right.
Like the stuff I do, some of these holds I do, nobody has ever. I don't think anyone's ever done them except for him.
Right.
And that stuck with me. For that one day we went over some of this stuff.
Right.
I just kept doing them, and I still do them.
Nice.
So Mav taught me a lot of stuff, and he gave him, like I said, he put the tag titles on me in Front Row Wrestling with me and Egghead.
Yep.
We feuded with the Logans.
You had a couple title runs with them, right?
Yeah, I did. I can't recall. I had a couple great singles matches with Christian Angers, and I forget what we had the Grand Estate title then, I believe we had.
Right, yeah.
I think I held that at one point.
You did.
Tag titles a couple times. Heavyweight title, I don't think I did. I was in a couple main event matches for that with Kid Makazi and I think even Johnny Vegas one night too.
Yep.
So maybe I don't know if I was champ then or not, but yeah. So he put me in some great positions.
Nice.
You know what I mean? He gave me my start basically.
Yep.
That's where I learned. You learn out there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can learn. You can train.
Yep.
And learn. But you just got to keep wrestling.
They say, and I'm not a wrestler, I told you before, I'm not in the business, but I hear, from people that are in the business, they say they can learn from someone that's not even less experienced as you.
Yeah. And this happens to me all the time because, like, I'm basically right now, as far as wrestling-wise, I work for Larry Huntley.
Right.
Because it's right over the border in Maine, and he takes care of me really well.
Yep.
Puts me in there with guys that are, say, good guys, decent guys. Yeah. But a lot of guys are green. But I go out there and I give the best match I can, and I work with anybody. I don't care who it is. I don't bully anybody.
Yeah.
I don't try to hurt anybody.
Right.
I don't care if the kid has 4 matches. If Larry puts him on the show, he wants him to wrestle on the show.
Right.
So I want to make him look the best he can.
That's awesome.
Even if he works, even if he's terrible.
Right.
I don't care.
Yep.
If he's terrible, I'm just gonna. If I just go beat him up.
Right. What good is that?
What good is that? That's not a
He
good
ain't
match.
learning.
He's not learning. The match is awful.
Yep.
And so I don't think I've won a match for Larry in 2 years. What's up with that, Larry?
Well, the Sandman always said that who cares? Nobody cares if he wins the match. All they care about is his entrance.
Yeah, right. No doubt. Yeah, as long as I get out there and you get pictures, you never know when a good picture is going to come out and you use that picture forever. Or,
yeah.
Who knows? You know what I mean? Some video clip or
absolutely
or something like that. But
let's get through these fan questions. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to get you on here again. Let's try it. We'll shoot for February. And we'll get you on again, and we'll do this again, and we'll play the name game on that one.
Yeah, great.
Okay?
Perfect.
All right. My buddy Nathan Fuller wants to know, what do you guys both think of the upcoming NXT TakeOver this Saturday? Do you watch NXT at all?
I do, but I'm not familiar with except for the War Games.
Yeah, the War Game, but that's going to be incredible.
Especially with a lot of the New England talent that we know in it.
Yeah, because it's going to be Oni Lorcan, Biff Busick, Danny Burch.
Oh, they're in that too? Yeah, that's cool. I
can't remember their third partner
I love
right
Biff,
now.
man. Biff's awesome.
And against the War Raiders in Ricochet.
Yep.
Against the Undisputed Era, which I would imagine it's going to be not Adam Cole. I think it's probably going to be Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly.
Wow, what a great just full of new blood that
NXT
guys that
now.
aren't young guys either though, but that are just now they made it. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
They're killing it out there. And
Triple H, a local guy. Giving these guys all a chance because he's running NXT.
Yep. All guys that have made names for themselves before getting there,
That's
which
right.
never used to happen back in the day. Because even if you wrestled for 10 years on the independents, right?
Yep.
When you used to get hired by WWE, you would come in and you wouldn't be your guy no more. You were who knows who you
change
were.
your name.
Whoever you were. Now these guys are building their resume. They're building their what's the word I'm looking for?
Career?
Their personas.
Personas, persona,
They're building their own personas, and they're getting to use them.
Yes.
And make them now they're getting a big stage to do what they've always done.
Yeah.
But which is cool, man.
It's unreal.
The business is changing. Huge.
Yeah.
It's just
it's like Triple H saw something in the independents and said, we need to be we need to have something like that, to give these guys a platform.
Yeah.
And then bring them up on the main stage. I just love it. I'm a huge fan of NXT.
And how much more do you hear about people watching NXT than you do the main shows?
Everybody. Almost everybody. All my friends watch NXT more than.
I probably watch NXT more than Raw and SmackDown. I try to watch I just can't sometimes. But,
right.
Yeah.
Nathan, I'm going to do the other question right now, too. Who's better, DX or NWO?
DX, like man.
I like DX, too.
DX, yeah. DX was way more. You knew they were having more fun. They were just, they were awesome.
Yeah, me too.
I will, one quick spoiler. I wasn't going to give too much away.
Okay.
But allegedly there might possibly be a DX member at Injustice for Brawl, too. So
wow,
nice. We might as well throw that out there while we're
nice.
Since you brought that up.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'm a huge DX fan too.
Yeah, well, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Mav wants to know, how did the business partnership with Joseph Von Schmidt come about? Do you have a partnership with Joseph Von Schmidt?
Yeah, so I wrestled Von Schmidt. I don't know if it was the first time we met or not.
Yep.
We wrestled at UFO, and I don't know what year it was. But we had an awesome match at UFO. I mean, the heat was, I think we did 15 minutes, maybe more.
Right.
I watched the video back, and you could hear the wrestlers bitching because we went over our time, stupid over our time.
Right.
But the USA, we did everything.
He was a good heel.
He was a great heel. And we did, we put this match together that was just, we did everything, back and forth, and the crowd was in it the whole time, and we became really good friends after that.
Nice.
And to the point, we ended up touring Canada together several times for like 2-week tours at a time.
Wow.
Working for Devin Chittick.
Okay.
Up in Nova Scotia, which were awesome times because you're on a wrestling tour. It's like, you know what I mean? So you're wrestling every night for and actually one of those tours, I wrestled Gerv, who was the Singh brother.
Oh, okay. I
wrestled him.
I saw the results online.
I wrestled him for like 2 weeks straight, and we just went out there. We opened the show every night.
Yeah.
And those were just great times. We wrestle every night.
Right.
We go out partying every night.
Yeah.
Wrestle every night. It was just awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot wrestling every night because you wrestle once. Now I wrestle a little less. So it's once.
Right.
A couple times a month. Whatever. Not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot. I'd like to wrestle more, but I'll get there. But I've just been so busy, and it's hard to tie myself down to schedule out for a weekend or so. But those were great times. So yeah, me and Von Schmidt became very good friends. I was actually just in his wedding in Maui. Just got married out in Hawaii. Yeah.
It's an honor to be invited to someone's wedding, never mind being it. I was my best friend's best man at his wedding, so it's an honor.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and then he started PWA down in Connecticut.
Right.
So I started working for him down there.
Yep.
So when I was running the shows before the Injustice for Brawl,
Right.
I was running under like PWA North banner.
Oh, okay.
So when I had a lot of his students
Yeah.
come up and wrestle.
Nice.
So that's how that partnership formed.
That's
yeah.
cool. I would have never known. So thanks, Matt, for asking that question.
Yeah, me too. Because actually, he always got a bad rap for some reason, but he was always a great worker and a great character.
I've seen
and a
that
great,
online. People shitting on him.
people shit on everybody, but
he was a hell of a heel. He was.
He put 100% into
Yeah.
what he did, and he made money. He made money on it. As
Right.
far as independent goes,
Most people are jealous, man, because he was making
it's
money.
all jealousy.
That's
You know what I mean? I
It
never
is.
try to bury anybody.
Right.
It's just one of those things.
Right. Sorry, Derek, but he ain't burying nobody today.
No.
Listen.
Hey,
before-
we'll bury people during the name game next
All right,
time.
that sounds good. I got two coming up from Tony Spencer, but I have to ask this
Oh,
one because
Tony
Ryan
Spencer.
Drew was such a great guest. Ryan wants to know, and you brought it up too, heat. Why are you such a heater?
I don't know. Yeah, why am I such a heat? I'll ask the audience on this. I never really
Well,
started.
guess
trouble.
what?
You know what it is? I've never really. I was always been kind of keep to myself kind
Yeah,
of guy. I was
yeah.
in my early 20s. I had like social anxiety.
Yeah.
So I never really liked to conversate with people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I had a conversation with Mick Foley about this too because he had the same. Like he would avoid conversations
Right.
at all costs. I just never knew what to say to people.
Yeah.
I never had a lot in common with a lot of guys in the independent locker rooms because
Right.
I always did my thing and I always hung out with like all the guys and rode and did different stuff
Yep.
and I was a drinker and a lot of guys were doing different stuff and I just
Right.
didn't have anything in common with them.
Right.
But so they a lot of guys took that as me being an a-hole.
Right.
Because I would just sit back and keep to myself. But that wasn't the case. So I
Yeah.
wasn't really a heater. I just was just wasn't just a social as much as people.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if anybody asked me for advice or if they needed something, I'd give you the shirt off my back. Like I'm not
Right.
like I kind of just got a bad rap in that way. I feel, but
Well, I'll ask Ryan in April, so don't worry about it.
Yeah,
So
I
we'll
know.
get the answer.
yeah, me and Ryan have always been cool too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And
Like I said-
he just booked me for that stadium show we did,
Right.
the NWO show, and that went really good. So
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, so Tony Spencer, Tony Cerulio.
Yeah, however you say that.
All right. What are your most memorable experiences being a celebrity in Laconia?
Oh boy, I don't know quite what he means by that, but it was such a small town, and
Yeah.
everybody kind of knows
Knows each
everybody,
other, right.
and so running these shows, like I said, everywhere I go, I hear about, hey, you did it.
Right.
And I've been in the newspaper so many freaking times
Yep.
that no matter where I go, people kind of
Right.
know who I am or
All right,
what I do.
so maybe he means like, have you had an experience at Laconia where maybe a celebrity came up to you?
No,
Okay, all right.
no.
Okay. Well, he's got more questions. What was the best advice or experience working as a talent on WWE shows? That's a great question. Anybody like you pull you aside, give you some advice?
The biggest thing that stands out is Titus O'Neil just got there.
Yeah.
I think this was 2000 and maybe even 10. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I worked with him in the ring. And he's like, hey, man, come on in here, blah, blah, blah. And I was taking he was learning how to beel people out of the thing.
Yep.
So I took like 20 of those things in that hard ring, which
Yeah.
that ring the ring's pretty rough.
Right.
And he's like 7, 8,
Yeah,
9 feet
big
tall. He's like 10
dude.
feet tall.
He is a big dude.
Yeah, so when you're taking a bill from him, now you're going, well, how many? 15
Yeah.
feet in the air, you know what I mean? So I worked with him, and he was very appreciative of that. And that was back when the extra talent got in there and worked with the
Right.
roster.
Nice.
Now they pair you off and do matches.
Oh, okay.
And the last time I was just there in July,
Yeah.
they ran out of time. So we all got in our gear, got warmed up, go to the ring, and they had to scrap it because they just didn't have any time for us to do our
Right.
matches. So I didn't get any ring time that time. But back previous, I worked with Yoshitatsu,
Yeah.
and Goldust was like kind of
Like the
mediator.
agent?
He was the agent in that
Yeah,
ring
yeah.
there. So
I'm a huge Goldust fan, too.
yeah, and
Just
Jamie
real-
Noble, who I don't think likes a lot of people. I think
liked
he
him,
he
too.
really liked me. He liked
Yeah.
the way I bumped and sold for
Right.
some stuff, the way I sold and to the other side of the ring when I took some. He just really liked how I worked. So I got some really good advice there and some good feedback
Nice.
there, But I never went any further than that as far as
Right.
WWE goes.
Last question. I'm not going to get to the Canadian fan question, Tony, because I want to plug your show again before the end. But what was the atmosphere like? Was it nervous atmosphere? You know what I mean? Like being in the back in the WWE, doing extra work.
You know what? Not really.
No?
I have more nerves going out and wrestling in front of 20 people at an indie
Right.
show. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
I think even if I had a match in WWE in the arena,
Yeah.
I think there's just so many people
Right.
that you just go out and you just do your thing and you just kind of
Right.
do it. But no, I wasn't nervous at all. It's a long day. You're
Yeah.
trying to feel your way around and
Right.
figuring out what to do. And a lot of the guys are a little timid when
Yeah.
they're there. I didn't act that way. I went and talked to everybody. Like I
Right.
talked to Cena.
They
I
must
talked
have
to,
liked that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I like to do it because what am I going to sit there at catering and hide?
Right.
And it just happened to me when I went in July. The guys just sit there and they're like scared to like roam around. I'm like, you don't learn anything by sitting here and
Right.
catering. Yeah, someone may not like you wandering over here.
Yeah.
But maybe you go introduce yourself to a guy and you're like, hey man, like what? Like I seen Road Dog off to the side and nobody said hi to him. Everyone just walked by him and like, dude, it's the guy's
It's the Road Dog,
He's an
man.
agent there.
And
the
he's
guy-
a legend from a legendary family.
and the guy's an agent, right?
Yep.
So why wouldn't you say,
Right.
hey, man, Tommy Mack, very nice to meet you. Oh, hey, I'm Brian D. James, and blah, blah. Like, totally cool. Like,
Right.
why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
So why just sit there like a stump on the log
Yep.
and be scared because you're not going to, put it this way, chances are you're not going to get hired anyway, especially
Right.
by sitting and catering and
Yeah.
doing nothing.
If you're not showing who you are.
Yeah, so I mean, and we got to do that spot. I did that spot with the No Way Jose thing where I
Yep,
danced in the background
Yeah.
or whatever, but I thought we were going to do the thing. So we got dress rehearsal. We get to do our thing and suit up above.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to do the dance thing down in the ring.
Right.
So already, yeah, we're going to fucking go around the ring. It was just a promo backstage. I'm like, what, dude?
Yeah, it's
Come
still,
on,
you got paid, right?
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, it was fine.
Nice. All right, listen, so we got like a minute 45. Your show, again, is in Justice for Brawl 2.
Yep.
It's Sunday, March 31st, 2019, at the Everett Arena at 15 Loudon Road in Concord, New Hampshire, 03301.
Yep.
I can't wait for the show.
I can't either. I actually do want to issue a challenge here.
Yes, please do.
Like we've talked about, especially my area too, and the way I think and the way my wrestling brain works. I have a very old school mentality.
Yep.
And we talk about the territory days and traditional wrestling and stuff like that. I'd like to issue a challenge to Nick Aldis, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion right now. Nick, Tommy Mack, what do you say? 10 pounds of gold on the line? Concord, New Hampshire, March 31st. Tommy Mack versus Nick Aldis. What do you say? Ball's in your court.
Yeah. Let's see it happen.
Let's see it happen.
You know, Nick
Yep.
Nick Aldis is a great wrestler
He's
too.
unbelievable.
Great wrestler. He's he's a two-time NWA champ
Yeah,
now,
he just,
right?
he just won it back from Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
Cody
and
Rhodes.
Cody's a hell of a wrestler too.
And
You
I-
brought up Goldust, but
And I will be ready for this match. If he accepts his challenge, I will be ready for this match. I'm in basically the best shape of my life right now. Come March, it'll be on. I'll be ready.
Nice.
So if this match takes place, I'm not saying it's going to. Let's hope it does. You know what I mean?
Nick Aldis,
Nick
bring
Aldis,
that
bring
NWA title.
Yep.
Nice.
Make it happen.
Let's do it. So like I said, Sunday, March 31st, 2019, Injustice for Brawl 2 at the Everett Arena, 15 Loudon Road in Concord, New Hampshire. Tommy, you'll be back in February.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, we're out. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.